40 hours a week, full time.
Okay, full time, okay. Who was paying you? The staffing company?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. When were you discharged? I understand that you were discharged, or are you still working?
No, I quit.
Okay. When was that?
This was on May 20th, 2024.
May 12th,
20th.
2024.
No, 20th.
Okay.
May
May 20th.
Yes, 20.
So it was last week. So?
Yes.
Right? Okay. Okay. So do you provide a 2 weeks notice, or you just quit?
I just quit.
Okay. And you quit because?
Because of the underhanded attacks of retaliation.
Retaliation? Why retaliation?
So when I was hired on by Prestige on February 28th, I was told that I would be placed.
Okay.
I was told that I would be placed near where I reside, because that's normally how you're placed when you're hired on in healthcare, especially with staffing companies.
Okay, but this was with a staffing company. They promised you, or they agreed to give you a position near home.
No, it was where they placed me, because that's how they place, near where you reside. So that way you don't, because they know about the traffic in Atlanta. And so they don't want any complications with you getting to work. And that's perfect for me, because I prefer to work closer to my house due to the traffic in Atlanta. And I'm sure if you stay in Atlanta, or I don't know if you do, but it's very bad traffic in Atlanta. So they usually like to place you, healthcare companies, especially healthcare staffing agencies, where you reside due to this traffic situation.
So you were placed in a good location.
Yes, I was placed in a location in the city right next to where I reside, like literally 5 minutes from where I reside.
Okay.
And so I have great work ethic. I was actually overqualified for this position, but being that I was out of work since September 2023, like you said, I took the position with being paid below and being overqualified. So when I took the position, I remained having great work ethic while I was there. I was never late. There was no errors in my work. And I never got into an altercation with anyone. I always had a positive attitude. I was always smiling and friendly. So a month after that, when they realized how fast I caught on and how good my work ethic was, I was propositioned that I would go permanent at the end of my 90 days, because I was told that if they made me permanent before my 90 days, which they really wanted to do, I was told that they would have to buy out the contract from Prestige Staffing. And so they decided to let me just go ahead and finish the 90 days and then go permanent. Because they were really thinking about going ahead and bringing me on earlier, because I was a fast learner and I was great at my work. So soon after being given that proposition, I want to say maybe a couple of weeks later, the same underhanded attacks that I experienced with the previous employers that wrongfully terminated me began to happen here. And
so let me ask you this: did you complete the 90 days?
That's where I'm getting to.
Okay.
So so while I was going through these underhanded attacks, what it was is I would get strange subliminal messages and conversations, either to me from my coworkers or to someone else, but it would be about me. The strange subliminal messages would like have hints of my personal life to other people, but loud enough for me to hear. And this is the same thing that I reported in these other EEOC charges. But I continued to remain positive. I kept, doing my best, excelling at my work. One day, the doctor she was acting strangely one day, the doctor that I was assigned to. And because each doctor has their own PCC in the colorectal department at Emory Johns Creek. And so one day she began behaving strangely, and I automatically knew the same thing was starting back up because that's what happened with my other EEOC charges. What she did was one particular day was she sent me an email to move a patient on the surgery schedule. And then immediately after, she came where I was sitting with the other PCCs and yelled at me, "Don't move it." Like basically trying to make it seem like I was making an error. Because I'm great at what I do, I never made any errors. And so they had to do underhanded things like this. But the final documented occurrence was on Friday, May 17th. It was my 90 days was supposed to be over on May 28th. And so on May 17th, one of the other PCCs by the name of Crystal started using strange subliminal messages about Uber because before I came to work there, I was doing rideshare in to earn money until I found a job. It was very hard due to this retaliation to find a job, so I was doing Uber. So she started making strange subliminal messages about Uber when she was talking to other people. I knew then the same thing was going on, and they were trying to get me terminated, but they didn't have a reason. And so her last comment, with the strange subliminal, the other PCC Crystal, was she mentioned to the supervisor, Shelly, about going to HR about the water. Now, I automatically knew due to this going on at previous places of employment that I was wrongfully terminated, that she was trying to get me fired. And so she made it seem like it was about the water, but I knew it was about me. And so I journaled that occurrence in a self-dated app that gives the date on when you journal. And I journaled this occurrence that happened on Friday, May 17th, in my journal that same day. Because I knew they were trying to wrongfully terminate me. So that following Monday, just like I thought, because I've been through this twice before, Shelly comes to me and all of a sudden, this is right at the end of my 90 days because, of course, my 90 days was to expire May 28th, and I was supposed to be brought on permanently. They knew they couldn't wrongfully terminate me because of my work ethic, and I excel at what I do. Plus, I was overqualified for the position. So instead of them terminating me, Shelly calls me, the manager, at noon that Monday, right after that occurrence that I journaled, that I had a suspicion I was going to be wrongfully terminated. And she says, "I really hate to let you go because you're such a good, you're so good, and I really don't want to let you go." And she was like, "So I'm going to move you to another department." And I was like, "Well, if you don't mind me asking, why would you have to let me go? Because I know I haven't made any errors. I know I come to work on time. I haven't gotten into any altercations." And the only answer she could give me was, "Well, Dr. Devin is picky," which is the doctor I was assigned to. I said, "Picky?" I said, "Well, if you don't mind, being more specific, what is the issue?" I said, "Because I haven't made any errors in scheduling surgeries. I come on time. I do everything that I'm asked to do. Plus, I go over and beyond in my work." And she said, "Well, some doctors are just picky like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move you to, I don't know if you want to accept it, but I'm going to move you to downtown Decatur, which is even further from me, which means I would have to go through traffic to get there." And then she asked, "Oh, yeah, and then with that particular location, you would have to catch a shuttle to the campus." And so basically inconveniencing me, which I knew in hopes of me quitting. And so she had the manager from that department to call me, and I did like a little Zoom phone interview with her. And I agreed to take it. But when I thought about it, when I got home, it's very unfair for me to keep going through things like this due to retaliation and based on religious discrimination from my previous EEOC charges. And so I just decided not to take it because I'm not going to be used because I'm a good worker. But at the same time, you don't want to treat me fairly because you have to participate in the retaliation that's going on. Now, and so I let her know that I appreciate the offer, but I could not accept it. And then I called the staffing agency and I told them why. I said, "I know this is strange." I said, because I was just, like I told you guys, they just gave me a proposition on possibly even going permanent earlier, and now this. I think that was done intentionally to get me to quit because they knew they had no reason to fire me. And because I'm not going to allow myself to be mistreated like that, and I do take my good name and professionalism seriously, I went on ahead and quit because I felt like but because I was a good worker, they wanted to use, because first, when I first got there, they were behind. And at that point in time, they had got all caught up since me being there. And because they knew I was a good worker, they really didn't want to let me go because, of course, they needed other jobs done. And so not only were they going to relocate me, but then she asked that I would be on probation as a temp another additional 2 months. And the only reason given, not my work ethic, but the fact that the doctor was picky. Not that I was difficult to get along with, but the fact that the doctor was picky.
You working for him or her?
I'm sorry, what was that?
The doctor complained. The doctor didn't want you.
No, she didn't. She didn't complain. She just told them. I don't know what was said about me because, like I said, my work ethic was great. I never made any errors in my work. Not only that, but I was always on time and I remained positive, even though these strange things were being said to me and around me. Because I knew they were looking for a reason to terminate me. Because I had been through this underhanded retaliation before with the other previous employers that I filed charges with you guys, EEOC with. And so I knew they couldn't find a reason to let me go because I'm great at what I do. In fact, I was overqualified for the position and accepted less pay because I just needed a job after this retaliation.
Okay, I hear all that part. Let's go with the retaliation part.
Mm-hmm.
Why you say that you were retaliated against?
Because I initially filed my first EEOC complaint.
No,
I'm going to tell you.
If you have other charges are with a different company.
Because I felt like doctors, of course, I have to turn in my resume of places I've worked at. And not only that, but doctors and healthcare know each other. And so I feel like I was being slandered underhandedly. And that's why the retaliation keeps following me place to place. Even though I do.
You cannot file a charge based
So what is your question?
That you did with another company.
Okay, so the underhanded retaliation.
Allow me to finish, okay? Doctors might know each other. They might talk. I met this person. We have this new employee. They might do that, okay? However, when you complain or you want to file a charge, a complaint, it's about what happened to you at that location.
Right.
That particular location. So you were going to start a full-time position after 90 days. Tell me when was the 90 days up?
It was supposed to be May 28th, 2024.
Okay, May 28th. Okay. That was yesterday?
Yes.
Okay. But before the date you quit, and the day you quit was?
May 20th, 2024.
Okay, the 20th. Okay. So they were going to give you a full-time position, but they were going to move you to a different location, and that other location was far away. It was something
yes,
that you could
and
not accept.
And then I would be giving a 2 months additional probation time as a temp after I had already been pre-positioned for a permanent position a month after starting. You don't see the the strangeness of that, and for no reason.
No, because when you start working for them, or you got the job, you were not working directly for the hospital. You were an employee from a staffing. Now, if you are going to become a direct employee, then you are going to start the whole employment career with a new company.
Ma'am, may I add that no one else had additional probation time there? Most people in healthcare start as a temp because that's how they hire. Just in case you're not familiar. And in that particular department, in that colorectal department, no one has ever went past 90 days of probation period, but I was, and for no reason. I was given 2 additional months, unlike anyone else there, and for no reason.
So, let me be clear. I'm hearing that you were placed on probation, or they told you that once you become a direct employee, you are going to be placed on probation?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Okay,
Most,
clarify.
that's what I'm trying to do. You keep cutting me off.
Okay.
If you would just let me finish. And that's what I'm trying to explain to you. In healthcare, I don't know if you're familiar, but in healthcare, most.
I am very familiar with healthcare.
Ma'am,
Okay.
I'm just trying to explain to you, so you can get a better idea or better picture of what's going on. Most places in healthcare, they hire from temp agencies. That's how they like to start you, because they want to see if you have good work ethic first, and if you're, you're good for the job. So that's how I started all my healthcare jobs. I've only had 3 since starting healthcare, that profession in 2015, but that's how I've always started, is through temps. And from when I talk to other coworkers, that's how they start. And so that's how they like to hire, because they like to see if you have good work ethic first. So I was hired on February 28th. My 90 days would have been up as per usual with any other healthcare position that hires temp. It's 90 days. And that was supposed to be up on May 28th. I was given a proposition a month into that in March about going permanent because of my work ethic. And I knew I have great work ethic. Plus, I was overqualified, and I had accepted the position for less pay, like I told you, because it was a struggle for me getting a job due to this retaliation. So I figured I'd go ahead and accept the position in hopes of probably getting promoted, like I did with another employer that I did not have to file a charge with, because my work ethic is good. And so right after that proposition, you call me while I'm at my desk working on May 20th, Monday, which is 8 days before my 90 days is supposed to be over. And not only do you move me to another location further than where I reside, but then you turn around and tell me I would also receive 2 months additional probation as a temp, which no one else ever had to do. That's strange. Number 2, after you just told me I would have this position permanently here in this department with this doctor a month after me starting, and I maintain the same work ethic. That's
what department was it? Cardiology, gastro?
Colorectal. It was the colorectal department.
Gastroenterology.
No.
It's gastro.
Yeah, no, they're 2 different, ma'am, they're 2 different things, because sometimes the colorectal is colon and rectal. Gastro is usually dealing with more of the stomach. Colon and rectal is dealing with your, basically your hemorrhoids, like your lower part of the stomach that deals with the rectum, So those are 2 different things.
The large intestine.
Ma'am.
Let me explain you, okay?
No, I know my profession, so let me explain to you.
Okay. Go ahead.
And this is how you would know the difference. When you call, if you ever have to investigate, if you choose to investigate, GI doctors from Emory refer to the colorectal department. So those are 2 separate departments, ma'am. And the GI doctors within Emory refers you to colorectal. So that lets you know that's 2 different completely departments. And sometimes she would send them back to the GI doctor and says, I'm not GI. So just to give you a little bit more information, those are 2 different departments. They all specialize in different things.
Okay, so you quit because the distance.
Because that was, I knew that was underhanded. I quit because I knew that was underhanded retaliation to provoke me to quit. Because why would you tell someone that they're going to go on permanent a month after starting due to their work ethic and how fast they catch on, and that you really want to bring them on sooner, but you would have to buy out the contract? I maintain the same work ethic to 8 days before I go permanent. You send me to a location further that goes through traffic. Then I would have to catch a shuttle. So you did that in hopes that I would quit, but because you knew you couldn't wrongfully terminate me like the other 2 previous employers, because I have great work ethic. It would be no reason. And because
let me ask you this question, okay?
Yes.
Being very, very careful. Okay. During that time you were working there, okay? Did you file a complaint of discrimination against any of the supervisor,
No,
co-worker?
I did not, because I journaled.
Okay.
Listen, let me tell you why. Because like you say, here it is, I have evidence now, and you're telling me it's not much. So I know I need more.
I didn't say that.
You just said that. Well, anyway, I didn't because how can you report strange subliminal messages until they finally act on it? You can't. So, like, what I'm gonna say? Oh, she used the word Uber about my personal life, but I don't have any evidence of that. I can't. So I have to wait till there's evidence. And so that's why when she made the strange remark, the coworker Crystal, on Friday, May 17th, right before I was moved to another department and put on additional probation Monday, she made a strange subliminal message about Uber. I automatically knew where this was going. It was like strange subliminal messages about my personal life, because prior to me working there, I was doing Uber. I was doing rideshare. So this is underhanded slander. That's proof of underhanded slander, but I can't prove it's about me because you're making it seem like someone else while talking to someone else until you finally act on it. But I did journal the occurrences down. Then she made another strange, same girl, Crystal, made another strange subliminal to the supervisor about going to HR about the water. I knew she was, that was a strange like code to try to get me wrongfully terminated, going to HR to get me wrongfully terminated, but you can't say it directly to me. Why? Because you don't have a reason to. I have a great attitude and I have great work ethic, and I've never been involved in any altercations nor any errors in my work. But because this has happened previously with other employers, I automatically knew what this was about. And so I just journaled it. But then when she finally called me on Monday and they actually acted on those strange subliminals, that's when I quit. Because I knew that was done intentionally, because no one else was ever treated that way, got additional probation time for no reason, or moved to a different location after being propositioned to be permanent there. That's never happened with anyone else but me. And you can investigate that if you choose to. So I knew...
I don't decide who is going to investigate, okay?
Okay.
Enforcement assigned that.
And so that's why I journaled it, because I was waiting because I can't prove strange subliminals until you act on it. And so after journaling it, that following Monday, after I journaled that HR comment was being strange, guess what? I'm being moved to a different location. No one else has ever done without it being requested personally from them. That has never happened to anyone else for no reason. Not only that, but no one else has received additional 2 months probation as a temp outside of their 90 days, and they've proven to have good work ethic.
Stop right there. Let me ask you something related to that, okay? The 90 days were going to be up May 28th.
Right.
Okay.
So why would you give me additional...
Okay, let me finish, ma'am, okay? I allow you to talk, okay? You are saying they gave me additional 2 months. That means that instead of 90 days, it was going to be the probationary period. Was going to be 100 and how much? 4 months.
So 110. So yes. No, it was going to be 5 months, because I was 90 days would have been May 28th, which was yesterday. So if you're telling me I would have 2 additional months after my 90 days, that's 2 additional months, basically like another whole probationary period as me being a temp, not permanent, but temp. No one has ever had that to happen to them for no reason but me. Do you see any logical reason for that? Because I can't.
I'm just hearing you. Okay. So they wanted, before you could get that permanent position, they told you have to do 2 additional months probationary period. Instead of 3 months, it's going to be 5 months.
Yes.
Okay.
No one else that's happened to but me.
Okay.
And for no reason, because if you're going to do that to someone, usually there's a reason, right? Maybe they don't have good work ethic. Maybe they always show up late. But I knew it was none of these. And that's why I asked specifically. And I have text messages as proof if you need this conversation. Because I had to change my mind about it and text her once I got home, because I knew that was very unfair. And I knew it was based on underhanded retaliation. And so...
Do you know of another employee who worked for 90 days and immediately was given a full-time position without...
Yes, everyone else. Everyone else that was hired there. Everyone else but me.
And what is the difference between you and everybody else?
Nothing. In fact, I was overqualified.
No. The difference when it comes to the basis to file a charge. You are a female. What is your race?
My race is black, but it was based on underhanded retaliation due to my previous EEOC charges. Because can you explain why everyone else goes permanent after 90 days that was there and not me?
The previous charges are with another company.
But ma'am, I know you can be blacklisted. I know you know this. I know you know there's a such thing as underhanded retaliation after reporting. I know you know this.
Okay, give me an example of another employee, a co-worker that was different than you, that you know of, that you are aware, that you were aware of, that this person might be a male, might be a white person, might be a Hispanic, any other person that you knew at that time. Wow, this other employee got a promotion or permanent position exactly at 90 days.
The other people don't have previous EEOC charges. I do.
No. I'm talking about.
And so I can't, ma'am, my complaint is retaliation after reporting. My complaint is being, due to this retaliation, is based on religious discrimination. And you just asked me.
No, because you did not complain with this company about discrimination. You filed a complaint of religion discrimination.
With this company, ma'am, with this company, I reported retaliation because I just had to file an EEOC charge for not even being able to get hired prior to this, after being told in the interview I would be, and through email, and just being
with this company.
No, ma'am. Listen, with this company, it's retaliation, and you just asked me what is different from me than the other people, and I just told you it's retaliation. That's why everyone else went permanent after 90 days, and I got an additional 2 months for no reason. That's why everybody else, after being told they would get a permanent position in that department, they actually got it, and me, I got moved to another department. So it's what more do you want me to say? It's because I'm black? I can't say that because that's not the basis of my retaliation or discrimination. So if you're asking me if
the basis to use retaliation as a basis to file a charge, we must hear from you a statement saying, look, I filed a complaint of discrimination with a company, and after complaining, they told me that I was going to, and this is only an example, that instead of 90 days, they were going to extend my probationary period to.
That's retaliation in itself, because how do you tell someone how do you present a proposition to someone a month after them starting that you really want them to come on permanent because their work ethic is great, to all of a sudden towards the 90 days is now an addition, even though my work ethic is still the same, it's now an additional 2 months. How do you retract on, how do you, because
I'm going to ask you a second time, okay? Listen to me, please, okay? The second time. Did you ever file a complaint within the company during the time you worked there?
No, ma'am, there was no reason for me to, because like I told you, okay, how can you complain on strange subliminal messages in a conversation until they act on it? I just told you that. So okay. I can't file on that's just like, even though she said the thing about HR on Friday, I can't go and make a complaint about that, because how would I have to prove that? Because it was indirect. And that's how it goes. When people know the system, they know how to work around the system. They know how to work around the system where their retaliation will not bring consequences. And I feel like people, even here, are trying to do that to keep from being held accountable for this retaliation, but you have no explanation on why I'm being treated differently than anyone else. You don't look at the fact that I'm being treated differently from anyone else. You don't look at the fact that something is being said on Friday and then on Monday they actually act on it. So you can't report, if I tell you strange subliminal messages are going on, how can I report strange subliminal messages if it's not said directly to me, but indirectly, and they're using phrase words, code words to each other to give each other hints. I can't report something like that because how would I prove that if it's not directly to me? So I have to wait until they act on it, in which they did, which was the following Monday. And now I'm coming to you to complain about it. Because I'm not going to allow my good name and my professionalism to be destroyed by underhanded retaliation. When it's clear to everyone involved that there is something strange about this pattern here, the fact that I keep having to come down here and file this, the fact that I get additional probation, and the fact that I'm treated differently than anyone else. That's strange in itself. And technically, quote unquote, being that there's so many ways to get around retaliation, is always something. So if I'm hearing strange subliminal messages and I know they're strange, it's technical because I can't quite report that. Why? Because it wasn't directly said to me and it's just code words. So how would I be able to prove that, right? So they know this. And so I do wait till there's evidence, like being treated differently, giving additional probation time when no one else does, being moved to a different location after being told I will be there permanently. And this is still being made, quote unquote, technical to can't be proven. But yet there's a strange pattern going on since 2017. I really don't think that the EEC gives justice to people who are discriminated against, because there's always something that people know who are in higher positions of authority that know the technical reasons, quote unquote, and how to get around those without suffering the consequences. And that's why I've had suffered this injustice since 2017, because even when I come here, it's the same thing. You'll see something strange. There will be strange occurrences, but it's quote unquote technical of what can you prove. And then when I can prove something, it's quote unquote, well, did you complain about it first? Well, how can you complain about strange subliminal messages until someone acts on it?
If you are so disappointed with the EEOC, you can get a right to sue and go straight to court.
That's what's happened in my other That's what's happened in my other previous cases. So no big deal. Okay. No big deal, because I see now that there's no true justice. Because if so, I wouldn't keep getting wrongfully terminated or mistreated and continuously having to come down here since 2017. And so there's clearly something strange about that in itself. And so if it's nothing you can do, because it's quote unquote no technical proof, or quote unquote there were no complaints filed previously, even though there's a strange pattern here and I'm being treated very differently, obviously, then there's nothing else I can do but accept that right to sue letter, like with the other 4 or 5 previous EEOC charges, and just go to court in hopes that someone will finally give me justice, because I can never get it here. I don't know if these people have a major, because they are major companies, whether they have so much of an influence, because one of them dealt with political retaliation, not religious, but political. And I know here this is a federal government agency, so I don't know if everyone is in cahoots to let stuff like this continue to happen, because there's no way I keep being wrongfully terminated and there's nothing the EEOC can do about it. So how can the EEOC really provide justice to discrimination when quote unquote is always a technical issue?
I don't know what that quote unquote means.
That means there's always a way around. There's always a way. When I say technical, quote unquote, that means you guys are always going to find a reason to not hold anyone accountable, even though you see it strange. I'm obviously being treated differently, but no one is ever going to be held accountable. So that's injustice. Why? Because people are able to get by the system or get under the system, whether it's through influence of political retaliation, religious discrimination. People are going to continue to do what they know they can do and get away with it. And you guys will allow them to, because it's always a reason of it. It's always something to where it's not enough evidence. Even though there's a pattern here, even though there's a pattern in how I'm being treated, it's still never enough. So I guess someone has to flat out and say, we're firing you because you're Christian, or we're firing you because of your political stance, or because this is a government agency. And one of my cases dealt with political retaliation, and I'm not crazy. So it's always going to be something to where no one is held accountable, even though I'm the one that has 3 kids.
I hear from from you. I don't know what you have.
But you can look at my track record. Can you not look at my track record with the EEOC in the many cases I've had?
No, that is private information.
Well, I've had about 6 charges here, and I think it's very wrong for the EEOC to keep allowing me to be wrongfully terminated. And there's a pattern here, and I have children to feed just like anybody else, and people can mistreat people based on political retaliation. I know this is a federal building. People can mistreat people at the healthcare office due to religious discrimination and based on retaliation of me reporting. And even though you say you have these laws in place, people like myself still suffer the injustice because it's never enough to prove, which is crazy. So if it's nothing you can do, if you need very specific complaints of me with this company, you're not going to have that, because it's always done in a way to where they're not held accountable because they know what they can do. Large corporations know what they can do. And so,
do you still have the same email you have here?
I do. Yes, I do.
Okay. So you did not provide the contact information for human resources. Who is in human resources?
I've never met human resources because I've never had to go to human resources. I'm not a problem employee. So the only person I have is the person that decided to bring me on board, which was my manager, Shelly Stevens.
Do you have the email for that person?
I do. Not the email, because I don't know what her work email is, because we call her Shelly, but that's not her legal name. That's a name that we call her, but I only have her cell phone number, and that is all.
Okay, look, I am going to...
Because I'm not a problem employee. I don't call in a lot. I didn't call in or anything. And if I did have to miss a day, I gave them enough notice to where I didn't have to call, like scramble around for human resources or even be sent to human resources. I have great work ethic. So I'm sorry I can't provide you with any of those things, but I do have her cell phone number.
That's fine, okay. I am going to draft a charge for you, okay? Based on what you are saying. Retaliation. You feel that the company retaliated against you. Okay. I am going to draft the charge. When I do that, I have to search for the contact information for the respondent, because you don't have any information here.
Right. Because I've never had to deal with the HR.
The system is going to generate an email and send an email asking you to log into your account and sign the charge. Okay? Mm-hmm. You need to keep checking your email. I don't know if I'm going to have time to do it today, later, because I have other appointments after you. Could be late today or tomorrow. Okay? Just keep checking your email. The moment you receive that email notification to log into your account, mm-hmm. you need to go immediately and sign the charge. After you sign the charge, the system will notify me again that you already signed the charge, mm-hmm. so I can go and proceed and complete the process. Do you have questions for me?
No questions.
Okay, so if you don't have questions, I'm going to let you go, and I am going to enter the charge, and you will receive that email notification anytime today or tomorrow, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you for your time.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
You're welcome.